Hey Frank, sorry, we just heard from Craig that Russell Westbrook had some cold-like symptoms this morning, tested negative. Um, just in this environment, how does it occur to you just how much sort of those kind of maybe in the past minor things can kind of put everyone on high alert?
Yeah, I mean, we're in a pandemic, and obviously, these types of things are impacting things around the league. But thankfully he's negative and cleared to fly with us. Go to Dan.
Hey Frank, in regards to Russ, we've talked to him a few times here in the past month or so about role, and I think at one point in time he said something like, my role changes every night. What's asked of me is different every night. When a player sees his usage change dramatically, like the way Russ's has over the course, obviously, how big of an adjustment is this for him? And I guess, are we kind of seeing that on a night-to-night basis, like the sort of evolution of adjusting to a totally different role than he's played for most of his career?
Yeah, I think that's that's part of what this early season has been like for us. It has been an adjustment. We knew that coming in. When we put this team together, and I feel like he's handling it well. Go to Dave.
Frank, how's the evolution kind of occurred to Russ playing in the dunker spot? How much is that occurring, and when did that become a wrinkle to your offensive execution when it comes to his role?
Yeah, I mean it's really not that different than anything we even did last year when AD was at the 5. When we had basically played without a true big. We would fill the dunker with a small, usually off of the cutter from the post, and honestly we're even evolving to the point where we're leaving that open, and creating more space for guys to go to the basket. In post-ups, pick and rolls, pin downs, all those types of action, and then cutting late as opposed to filling the dunker. So, we're continuing to evolve our offense, but all of our smalls are active and live to play out of that spot, at certain times. Go to Mike.
Hey Frank, just curious, what's your takeaways from Ariza so far, the progress that you've seen from him, and then kind of at the same time, Stanley Johnson, and where you see those guys differing and helping on the wing in respective ways?
Yeah, I think Trevor's coming along. Obviously we knew it was going to take a little bit of time for him to start getting his legs under him. I've seen some real positive things from him, just in how he's moving, the comfort level he's getting with what we're doing on both sides of the ball. I really like what he's doing offensively from a standpoint of bringing that 3-point line, spacing, being aggressive in catch and shoot situations, and then being really efficient in redrive situations. Putting the ball on the deck, not always to score, but to create for others. And he's created a lot of good offense for us. In terms of Stanley just brings that kind of energy and toughness, that would help any team. Obviously playing small ball center, defensively at least, is something that's given us a lift, and we're getting something out of both of those guys. Back again to Kyle.
Frank, obviously you've been without Coach Fizz and Coach Penberthy for a couple games. Just wondering, for in-game adjustments or anything else having to do with offense, without some of your top assistants, is this a time where you lean more on player feedback or guys who are sort of on the court to adjust as they see fit? How do you kind of draw more ideas live in games without your assistants?
Yeah, I don't think any more than usual. We just relied on our other assistant coaches more. But we didn't have Fizz and Mike for a while, and both of those guys have an offensive mindset and an offensive role on the staff. So that's been filled both by Coach Q and Coach Phil. Coach Miles joined us for a few games. We also lost Rondo, who's was serving as an assistant coach in a lot of ways. But I don't think I've relied more on player feedback than usual. but we always make group decisions and talk things out as a group, players and coaches.
Dan, did you have a follow-up question?
I did, yeah. Again, Frank on Russ. When again we see a usage rate cut like this, right, in a particular player, is that a rhythm thing? I mean, Russ is so used to doing so much, in terms of feeling a game and stuff like that. Do you think that could maybe explain some of the maybe out of rhythm mistakes that he's made, the missed layups and stuff like that? It's just, it's a different. He's touching the ball less. He's doing different things like that.
Yeah, I mean that's it could be, but he's still a high usage player for us, and big part of what we're doing. So he's getting the ball. The environment around him has changed with his teammates all year long. It changed coming in and learning to play with guys like Bron and AD, and obviously. The amount of guys we've had in and out of the lineup, that environment has changed as well.
A quick follow-up on what Kyle said too. Are Penberthy and Fizz, either of them close to returning?
They're both clear. They're both back. They're at practice today. Yep.
Andy?
Hey, Frank. Ross's perspective on this is obviously going to be his own, but from yours as a coach and the things that you're asking him to do, what do you consider the biggest adjustments he's had to make, like the most frequent ones and the ones that might take the longest for him to really get used to?
I just think the volume of that Bron has the ball is probably the biggest thing. Obviously he's played with with shooters and rolling bigs throughout his career. At least the last few years. I know he started obviously played all his years with KD, but playing with Bron is different for everybody. With the volume that he has the ball. But I think the way we played the last few weeks, I think Russ has really made some progress, as has our whole team, with Bron playing more of a point center role. He's screening and rolling either off-ball screens or pick-and-roll screens, more than probably he ever has in his whole career. So I think that adjustment by Bron has helped a lot of our guys on the perimeter, including Russ.
Jovan?
Hey Frank, a lot of the season we've talked about the depth of your team and sort of the maybe roles changing night to night depending on the matchups and stuff. But with Malik coming off that 7-game stretch that he just had, did he earn a new perspective or level of trust from you off of that stretch, or do you still kind of view him the same as before as now, or kind of like what did that stretch do for your confidence and trust in terms of his role moving forward?
Yeah, it's tough to say if it's really changed it, because I've from day one I've had a ton of confidence in Malik Monk and his overall game. So it definitely solidified it maybe, but I don't think it's really grown from where it was to begin the season, which was very high.
Brian?
Hey Frank, a few players, LeBron most notably on Sunday talked a little about, the team kind of finding an identity and understanding how they're going to play going forward with, that sort of smaller lineup in LeBron and center and things like that. When Anthony comes back, does that change again, or do you think sort of fundamentally that identity continues and you sort of plug AD into that, once he's available?
Yeah, well, I think you're going to see Anthony playing a lot at the 5, and when Anthony's out, we have the lineups that we've been playing right now with Bron, basically playing point center. It is the direction that I think we're going to land with this group towards the second half of the season. And, one we're seeing obvious benefits for right now that we feel like we're just going to be even more enhanced when Anthony comes back.
How fundamentally different is it, though, with AD at the 5 versus LeBron? I mean, obviously, they have different capabilities and things you can do, but is it sort of, kind of basically the same type of concepts?
Yeah, a lot of similar concepts, for both of those guys, and that's the beauty of them is, they're both versatile as playmakers and screeners. You know what I mean? And what we've done is just open up the paint, and we feel like it's going to benefit both of those guys in that role.
Cool, thank you.
Andy, did you have another question?
You're muted, Andy.
Apologies. Actually, yeah, Frank, do you agree with Russ with that assessment that his role changes a lot on a game-to-game basis? Like, in terms of what's asked for him?
Well, I think the environment changes around him, like we've talked about. There's been a lot of guys in and out of the lineup, and that's just something that our whole team has had to adjust, sort of on a game-to-game basis. I think in particular during that stretch where we were hit by COVID, and it was just literally finding out on game days, guys were in and out of the lineup, and so from that standpoint, that night's assignment might be different from the next, but. Just something our whole team has been dealing with.
Thank you.
Last question, we'll go to Dan.
Frank, did Kendrick practice today? Was he able to get on the court with you guys as a group?
More individual work, getting closer, but no timetable still.